my channel. Have you ever thought about learning Chinese but you just don't know where to start? Or maybe you've already started but you're stuck and you don't know how to improve? Well then this video right here is for you. Welcome back. First things first, don't forget to subscribe, click that little bell so you keep up with every single post that I'm making, and also don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Miss Urban Eve. Alright, obviously Chinese is different from any other language that I've learned before. I've mostly learned Roman languages, and once you learn one Roman language, it's way easier to learn another one and build up on them. So Chinese is completely different. That's why I had to kind of invent methods that particularly work for Chinese to keep me motivated and keep learning and improving. Alright, first method is obviously the writing is different. There's no alphabet in Chinese, but every single word is based on one or more characters. Those characters are called hanzi. What you want to do is learn the basic stroke orders of the characters. To not feel overwhelmed by seeing these characters, memorize the stroke orders. Stroke orders are always from left to right, from up to down. That's how you can practice your basic characters stroke orders. I would recommend you to start out by memorizing a couple of words where you know for sure how they're written and where you can also recognize them. You don't have to be able to write every single word out, but if you're used to writing them, then you can also automatically recognize them, and I think that's really useful. Another important tip that I can give here is that from the start you get used to reading and writing the hanzi, the characters, and not so much the pinyin, which are the Chinese characters written in our alphabet. So when I first started out learning Chinese in uni, my teacher stressed it very much that we get used to reading and writing the Chinese characters without the pinyin, so we get used to it more and we can recognize them. The second tip is also what I do with other languages. That is basically watch movies. As I always tell you, I watch movies, watch also YouTube videos. That helps a lot if you can watch movies with subtitles. I found that actually most Chinese movies are with Chinese subtitle, that means with the Chinese characters, and also with English subtitles. That characters don't have the pinyin, so it can be a bit confusing in the beginning if you're not used to recognizing different words because you only see Chinese characters and subtitles. So what I recommend is watching YouTube videos. Actually, YouTube videos mostly have Chinese characters, subtitles, plus the pinyin sound of the characters, so you can look up the words and you know what they mean. If you want to know a couple of YouTubers that I personally watch to improve my Chinese, then just check out the description box below. Tip number 3 is listen to music. Listen to music, but not only listen to the music but also translate them, song lyrics. That's also what I did with other languages I learned. I told you guys already. So with Chinese I did the same thing because I find that songs really help me to train my listening skills and also get new vocabulary in. You can download apps that I will also leave in the description box below where you have Chinese songs with pinyin and also characters, and you can translate them. This really helps to train your ears to new vocabulary, so next time you will hear different words that you've learned in a song, you will definitely recognize them. Fourth tip, well, Chinese can get really overwhelming because it's completely different than any other language you might have learned before, and you don't know where to start, what to do. But I would really recommend learning basic phrases in the beginning. Basic phrases can get you very far. A lot of times we have like this very complicated sentence structures in our heads and we want to try to translate those into Chinese, but the way Chinese language is built is much more simple. So what I learned here while being in China is actually to think more simple and not want to build these super long sentences where you have like 3 or 4 phrases in one sentence. The way the language is structured is much more simple than any other language that I've learned before. It's best to actually build simple sentences because that way people will understand you. So let's say you go to a grocery store, you just learn the things you would say in a grocery store, the simple things like I want this, I want that. Like I wanted to go to the grocery store, buy some bananas. I looked up the most simple way to put it and they actually understood what I wanted, and me buying the bananas at the grocery store was very simple. I didn't have any problems for them to understand me, so this was kind of like a happy moment for me, because I realized, well, this was really simple. Like, you don't have to make it more complicated than it actually is. This is a very important tip, especially for Chinese. A lot of you guys may start out learning Chinese with an app, doing self-study. I think that self-studies is good for some languages. I think for Chinese it's good to start out with self-study if you can download apps and a couple of basic characters, but I think your self-study in Chinese will only get you so far because it's a completely different language. As I always say, I think with any language, the most important thing and easiest way to learn it is to actually be immersed in the culture, in the language where you hear it, and you can apply directly what you learn. This applies even more so for Chinese because it's completely different, so we're not used to hearing it that often. And I feel like especially with Chinese, you can only do self-study for so long, but at one point if you really want to improve, you have to take a course. That's what I did right now here. I had Chinese previously at uni, but as you guys know, I haven't been studying, I haven't been learning for the past years, so I really wanted to improve my skills, and I really wanted to do that here in China, but not outside of China, because I knew that here in China I would get the most out of it. So I came here to study at Almeida School, where you can take Chinese courses at any level. You can start at any time of the year, and it's super convenient for people who want to travel but also learn the language at the same time, and also be immersed in the culture at the same time. And I found that this 1 month that I've been here has been super helpful for me. In 1 month I've been learning what I've previously learned in 4 years at university back home. So it's definitely not the same when you're in the culture, when you hear the language daily. Everywhere you go, to the grocery store, to the gym, you're much more receptive and much more likely to learn to speak actually, and not only listen and understand. And what also helped me at Almeida was that you can actually get a language partner, which is like absolutely amazing. I mean, you can get a language partner that you can meet up every single day whenever you want to, and you can do stuff with them. That's what I did, and I learned so much just like by hanging out with my language partners like on weekends and interacting with them, and also with their Chinese friends. It helped me so much to be more receptive and learn so much new vocabulary. And I've learned more than I've previously learned by self-studying, because I was surrounded by the people. They were putting on music, they were talking among themselves, and I would just tune in my ears and always listen to what they say, how they say things, and that really helped. So if you want to know more about Almeida, then check out the description box below, and I also have an exclusive discount code for you guys, the Urban Eve. So then check out Almeida. It's an awesome school here in China where you can definitely learn a lot. Seventh tip I have is also what I did in other languages. That was basically to listen to my ears in and copy and imitate. Copy and imitate the sounds, and I think this for Chinese is a very important point, to copy and imitate, because Chinese is a tonal language. That means there have 4 tones. You can have one word that is written and spelled in an exact same way, but it has another meaning according to the tone. So that's why, especially in Chinese, you have to tune in your ears and get used to saying words in a different tone, in a different way. What helps me to do so is actually ask my Chinese friends. It might sound weird, but a lot of times when I want to learn something, I let them say a phrase or a word or whatever it is, and to memorize it later on, I ask them if I can record it. So basically what I do is I record them like speaking, and later on I listen to it over and over again, and I basically copy and imitate the way they say things. And that's exactly the same thing what you can also do while you watch movies. You can just copy and imitate the actors, the way they say things. So this is like a very good exercise to train your ear, but also to train your speaking, because pronunciation in Chinese is everything. When you don't pronounce the correct way, people will not understand you. They will just look at you like, what are you saying? What are you talking about? They will not understand you. In English, you can mispronounce things, but people will know more or less what you're talking about, or what you want to say at least. But in Chinese, it's not the case. So you really have to get your pronunciation right, and this practice helps me a lot. Alright, next tip is write down everything. Like everything you hear, every word, every new phrase you learn, everything, like write it down. If you just hear things and you don't note them down, like you will eventually forget them. But if you write down every single thing, you will remember for the next time and in next situations to use those things until you have them in your system. So I use like a little notebook where I write down everything. If you don't have a notebook at hand, then just use your phone, your notes in your phone, so you can just type in the pinyin and then later on you look it up. Trust me, it helps. Alright, last tip is, I feel like the most important one, speak. Just speak, speak, speak. As I always say, speaking gets you far. Like, you can learn so much, but if you have your mouth closed, it won't get you anywhere. But speaking will get you so far. Even if you make mistakes, I mean, that's included in experience. You have to make mistakes in order to learn. So just speak and don't be afraid. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.